Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Thank you for going on this journey through our past and present. And today, I'm going to introduce you to the first woman bank owner. Her name is Maggie Lena Walker.
They never told you the first woman to own a bank in the U.S. wasn't white. She was a black woman named Maggie Lena Walker. Born in 1864 to a formerly enslaved mother, Maggie didn't just break barriers, she bulldozed them. At a time when black folks couldn't even enter most banks, she built her own. In 1903, she founded the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank, giving black families the power to save, buy homes, and invest in their futures when no one else would. But Maggie didn't stop there. She ran newspapers, she opened department stores, she hired black women when no one else would, and through the Independent Order of St. Luke, she taught financial literacy, empowerment, and self-reliance to thousands. While Wall Street was locking us out, Maggie was teaching us how to build our own. But ask your history teacher about her, and watch the silence. They buried her legacy because it proves we've always been builders, always been bosses. If this is your first time hearing her name, drop a money bags in the comments. Follow Roots Uncovered, because we're unearthing every untold story they tried to erase.
And the takeaway is that Black people in America have always built. The problem is that whatever was built was hidden or destroyed. But the fact remains that Black people always built and continue to build in this nation. Maggie Lena Walker was a powerhouse of progress and perseverance. Born in 1864 in Richmond, Virginia, to formerly enslaved parents, she rose to become the first Black woman to charter and serve as president of a bank in the United States. That bank was the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank, founded in 1903. Now, her father was an Irishman, so her father was white. Her mother may have married a formerly enslaved man, but you can look at her complexion and tell that this woman looks like a white woman because she was the product of an enslaved woman and a white man. Now, what is extraordinary about her is that she was a banking pioneer. She led the Independent Order of St. Luke, a fraternal organization, and used it to empower Black communities economically. She founded and edited the St. Luke Herald, a newspaper to promote her organization's mission. She opened a department store to provide jobs and dignity to Black women. She was active in the NAACP, the National Association of Colored Women, and the Urban League. Despite facing racial and gender discrimination and later physical disability, she remained a fierce advocate for education, financial independence, and civil rights. Maggie Lena graduated from high school in 1883 and became a school teacher. A few years later, she married Armstead Walker Jr. and had to give up her teaching position, as was the case in those days. School teachers couldn't be married. In 1903, she formed the St. Luke Penny and Savings Bank and served as president of the bank until 1932. This made her the first known woman president of a bank in the United States. In 1905, the Walkers moved into a large home in Richmond, Virginia, which after her death became a National Historic Site maintained by the National Parks Service. In 1907, a fall at her home caused permanent nerve damage, and she had trouble walking the rest of her life, leading to the nickname the Lame Lioness. Wow. In 1915, tragedy struck Maggie Lena Walker's family as her son Russell mistook his father for a home intruder and shot him. Russell was acquitted in a murder trial as his mother stood beside him. He died in 1924, and his wife and child came to live with Maggie Walker. Wow, that's some tragedy. In 1921, she ran as a Republican for state superintendent of public instruction in Virginia. By 1928, between her old injury and diabetes, she was wheelchair bound. In 1931, with the Depression, Maggie Lena helped merge her bank with several other African American banks into the Consolidated Bank and Trust Company. With her ill health, she retired as bank president and became board of the merged bank. Maggie Lena died in Richmond, Virginia in 1934. She had 4 children. One of them died in infancy, but one of them, as I said before, killed his dad accidentally, they say. But anyway, this was an extraordinary woman. She did an extraordinary thing by establishing herself as the first woman banker, not the first black woman banker, but as the first woman banker in the United States. So here's a little bit more about Maggie Lena Walker.
So she became the first woman of any race to charter and serve as president of the U.S. Bank, and that was a St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. What Maggie Lena Walker understood was that black communities were often shut out of mainstream banking, right? Mainstream banking was white. And so what she did with the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank is provide a safe space for African Americans. So it was a place where they could save their money. It was also a place where they could get loans. It was a place where they could build businesses. For Maggie Lena Walker, making money was part of the mission. But it wasn't just about making money. It was also about building community wealth. Financial independence to her was also a path to freedom. She started the Independent Order of St. Luke. This is like a fraternal organization, and it's really dedicated to social justice and to community support. And so that's actually what she uses to launch into becoming the president of a bank. So remember, the bank is called the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. It starts actually with her starting this Independent Order of St. Luke. This is a really great thing to note. She doesn't start with the bank. She starts with the community. Here's why I like talking about people like Maggie Lena Walker. We all know that people survive these very difficult times. I like talking about Maggie Lena Walker because what we see is not just someone who survived, but also someone who thrived. She gives us this really great example of how to not just survive, but to also thrive, and how to help other people survive and thrive along the way. She ended up needing the use of a wheelchair, but she didn't let that slow her down. She kept leading her bank. She kept leading her community. Her bank is going to merge with other Black-owned banks during the Great Depression. Her bank survives the Great Depression.
Not only did her bank survive the Depression, but that bank is still operating to this day. The St. Luke Penny Savings Bank is still operating today. Established in 1903, it has survived various challenges, including the Great Depression, and continues to serve the community. Like so many of our ancestors, she defied the odds and achieved in spite of all of the obstacles that were put in her way. This is an ancestor to be revered and to be honored, and we're thankful for the legacy that she leaves behind. So rest in peace, ancestor Maggie Lena Walker. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Have a great day.